Now we want to set up an on-click handler to the star icon within our messages header. So we'll head to the messages header component. We'll add an on-click to the icon. We'll set it equal to handle star, which will handle starring a given channel. And we'll create the function for this within our messages component, where first we'll add a property to state called isChannelStarred, set initially to false. So this will keep track as to whether a given channel has been starred previously. So now we'll create our handleStar function. When we call handleStar, we want to change isChannelStarred to its opposite value. And we'll do so using an inline function within setState where we get access to the entire previous state. And we'll update isChannelStarred according to that. We'll set it to not previous state dot isChannelStarred. That will always give us the opposite value. And then within the callback to setState, when isChannelStarred is updated, we'll execute a function called starChannel. This will check to see, first of all, if isChannelStarred is set to true. If so, for now we'll just log the text star. Otherwise, if it's set to false, we'll log unstar. So we'll add the functionality for starring and unstarring a channel there in just a minute. Then down within our render function, we want to destructure isChannelStarred from state, and to our messages header we want to pass handleStar, the handleStar function via props, as well as isChannelStarred. So now we're making handleStar available to the messages header for our icon. So now execute the handleStar function. And now on the icon, we want to change the appearance of it when a given channel has been starred. So based on whether isChannelStarred is set to true, we'll either give the name of the icon star or star outline. And as for the color, we'll set up a similar ternary where if a channel starred, we'll set the color to yellow or black if not. We'll save that. Now let's test this out within our app. We'll try clicking on the icon for a given public channel, and we should see that the icon turns yellow. We see the log of star. If we click on it again, we see unstar, and it changes back to black and outlined. And we can click on this as many times as we like, and our isChannelStarred property is always updated correctly. So back within messages, let's add the functionality within starChannel to actually update the data within our database. And in particular, we want to update the user object for a given user. We want to add a starred property to the user that stars the channel, and this starred property, starred object, will include an array of IDs for each channel that's starred, and that ID will include information about that channel, the name of the channel, the details about it, as well as who created the channel with a created by object. And that will include the name of the user as well as their avatar. So if we add this, you can see an example of what this will look like. This starred property with an array of IDs for each channel that's starred. So to implement this in our app, we'll head back to starChannel, and we want to grab the users ref since we're updating a given user and their data. So we'll create a users ref property in state set to firebase.database.ref, the string of users. And we want to select a given child of that ref based on the user's ID. So we'll add some template literals. We'll interpolate the user's ID from state and add /starred to add this new property. Then we want to use the update method where on the object we want to dynamically change the ID of the channel and its related data. So the ID will be set to an object with a name property, a details property, set to the channel name and the channel details in state. And we'll have our created by object, and we'll get that from this.state.channel.createdby.name and their avatar, where we just change the end of that path to .createdby.avatar. So for every channel that we star, we're adding a new channel ID with all of the information about it. Then in the else case, we want to take the same child, the same user UID /starred, and then the child of that will be the channel ID, and use the remove method, where once again we can catch any errors by making sure the error is not equal to null, and if so, we'll use a console error to display it in our console. So we'll save that. Now to test this out, let's star our first channel. Once we do that, we can see the new starred property added to our current user, which contains the channel ID of the channel we starred, as well as all of its related information within it. We can head to the second channel, star that as well, but when we flip back to the first channel, we don't see the star as yellow anymore, yet we still have all of the information for that channel within our starred property in the database. So our UI doesn't reflect what we have in our database, and even if we refresh, the star is still black and outlined. To get information about the channels that a given user is previously starred, we'll create another listener which will execute within component.didMount. So when the component mounts, we're going to call add user stars listener, which will take the current channel ID as well as the current user UID. And the add user stars listener will take both of these values in order to get all of the channels and the related information about the channels that the user has starred. So we'll take the user's ref, we'll select a child based on the user ID and a child of starred to get the entire starred property. Want to use the once method to get its value, and then within the then statement we'll get the data and we'll make sure that data.value is not equal to null, so we have a value for the starred property, and we'll create a variable called channel IDs. So we'll get all of the channel IDs that a given user has saved and get an array of them using object.keys, and we'll take this array of IDs and use the includes method to check to see if our given channel ID is present within it. We'll set the return value to previously starred, and if it finds it within this array, if includes finds it, it'll return a value of true, and we want to update is channel starred based on the previously starred variable, what's stored in it. So we'll save that, head back, and we can see immediately that our star for our first channel is yellow, reflecting what we have in our database, and the star for our second channel is yellow as well. So we can toggle that, refresh the page. We can see our first channel once again is starred and the second channel is not, which lines up with our database for our given user.